Welcome back to Close Up. As an attorney, Andru Volinsky won 2 landmark decisions before the New Hampshire Supreme Court that have defined the debate over education funding for 3 decades now in New Hampshire. But the rulings of the judicial branch of state government have never been fully accepted by the legislative branch of state government, and significant disparities in school funding by district persist. That unresolved problem is the subject of Volinsky's new book, The Last Bake Sale. And the author joins us this morning. Counselor, thanks for being here.
Good to be with you, Adam. Thank you.
So you've been at this for a long time.
I have.
Why write this book?
Well, I think there are 3 reasons. The first is just to accurately record the history. So I went back to my old notes. I looked at the court records. I read a lot of the press reporting, including by our friend John DeStaso, just to get it right. And the reason you want to get it right is to provide information so that current advocates and future advocates can build on what's already happened. They know what strategies worked and, quite frankly, who to watch out for. And then finally, we're in a time when we need leadership. And in my humble way, telling the story of Claremont and school funding in New Hampshire and nationally is my small way of showing leadership.
Yeah, and you, in the book, delve into the history of education funding in some depth, and not just in New Hampshire, but around the country. Explain how, and you make this case here, and part of your thesis is that you can't really talk about education funding in the United States without also talking about racism.
Yeah, there's a pretty straight line between the Brown versus Board anti-segregation decision to the Rodriguez decision that kicked everything to the state courts. That's why we all litigate these cases under state constitutions. The story is really about privilege protecting privilege. And quite frankly, New Hampshire's had its problems.
And it also, you know, in specific to New Hampshire, you talk about property taxes and how those land a little bit differently than any other tax that people pay. Explain how you see property taxes kind of irking people in a different way.
Well, it's more than just irking people. Property taxes come due whether you have the money or not. So if you lost your job, property tax man doesn't care. If you made more money in the last year, you don't pay more. If you live in a community that has great property wealth, it's relatively easy to raise money for your schools. But in our poorer communities, they pay some of the highest education taxes anywhere in the state, and they don't quite get enough for it, for their schools. You know, when we tried the case, 6-week trial, there were stories and evidence about children who couldn't read, and the school district could not provide the remediation. We tried the case in '96. There were books, science books in use saying we hope to someday put a man on the moon. And Franklin band classes were taught under the gym, where if you bounced a ball, asbestos came down on the students. That was happening. It's less so today, I'd like to think, in part because of our work, but there's still great disparities.
With Claremont, you won in court, but the fight outside of the judicial system continues. From your perspective, what is ultimately going to be the solution to this problem?
Look, we have worked on this for years. And there's been both a lack of leadership and leadership opposed that you would have expected help from. So Governors Gregg, Merrill, and Shaheen all fought from the same hymn book. We need to do some things that will make a change. Part of that is re-examining how we raise taxes. An income tax would have passed in 1998 had it not been specifically because of the work of Gene Shaheen. That needs to be part of the solution. Property tax that hits second homeowners. I give the example in the book of Mitt Romney, who I like, Mitt Romney has a $10 million estate in Wolfboro, and he pays $4,000 a year in school taxes. He will never pay an income tax in New Hampshire, and he needs to contribute his fair share. That's the goal. Sustainable, enough money, everybody contributing their fair share.
Do you think we're going to see anything different out of this current lawsuit, Conval? Or, we've already seen the legislature already basically saying, hey, whatever happens, thanks, but no thanks.
So there's a second lawsuit called Rand, where I'm co-counsel, that is already having responses in the legislature. The statewide education property tax exempts some communities. Some communities don't pay it at all. Others pay it at a reduced rate. The legislature is talking about fixing that. So I think we're going to make progress. And look, New Hampshire is the most highly reliant on the property tax to fund public schools in America. That's why older people lose their homes. People who suffer a medical crisis, go into medical debt, lose their homes. And Trump and Musk are going after Social Security and Medicaid, and that makes the New Hampshire problem worse. This is a time when we really need leadership. People need to do the work, and we need to be our own leaders.
On that subject, obviously, Senator Shaheen is not running for re-election in 2026. I've seen a lot of chatter out there on the progressive side of the spectrum saying, hey, we should see somebody run, and they've mentioned your name. Are you interested in running for U.S. Senate at all in 2026?
Well, look, I'm certainly flattered to be mentioned. My focus is the book. This was my approach to doing leadership. I hope people will buy it and read it, do their own work. We need to be our own leaders.
Having been, an activist and an agent for change from the progressive side of the spectrum, I'm curious for your perspective. This fight is all about economic justice.
It is.
Has the left moved too far away from that key value of economic justice? We see a lot more of the discussion now around identity politics.
Yeah, so people talk as if the left is a thing.
It's not an organized thing at all, no. Yeah.
If anything, it's very disorganized. So different people have different approaches. Look, I was Bernie Sanders' lawyer. I come at this from the idea of economic justice. If you can't pay the cost of a carton of eggs, that's a problem. If there are people, because of New Hampshire's tax structure, and I'll say it, Chris Sununu made this a lot worse with doing away with the interest and dividends tax. That was a problem, and now there's a big hole in the budget. So sustainable, enough money, everyone pays their fair share. If we do the work, I think this is the time to get it done.
All right, Andru Volinsky, thanks for joining us. The book is The Last Bake Sale.
Yes.
Thanks so much for joining us on Close-Up. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
All right, that wraps up this edition of Close-Up New Hampshire. Thanks for watching. Have a great Sunday.